Hi everyone, Richard here at Calvin Wazoo bringing you another video. This one is prompted by a contest that actually has a prize, but I'm doing this because I find the premise of the contest interesting, and so I wanted to participate. I'm not really interested in winning a prize. I would love to create some of these contests myself, but I'm not really in a position to offer a prize. I'm also trying a little new lighting with this particular setup. With the sun moving more to the south, I don't get quite the same ambient light coming through my window. My apartment faces the north. But, in the summer, I would get really, really good light. Plus, it's kind of cloudy and rainy today. But that's neither here nor there. So the channel is 45 RPM Audiophile, run by Michael. And his channel is very much focused on audiophile quality recordings. So we're talking about recordings from the Mobile label, Analog Productions, so the Blue Note Tone Poet series, some, and also, some of the Abbey Road remasters. So we're talking about very high quality releases. They tend to be pricier than your standard release. And then some of them are also released as, 45 RPM, 12-inch vinyl. So a record that was released as a single two-sided LP with the 45 RPM format, it would be released as 2 LPs usually. With 4 sides, maybe only 3. So very high quality stuff. As I say, it's very pricey. And I have some of this type of release, but he also had the rules flexible enough with some of the categories that I didn't have to have a MoFi or similar high quality release or remaster, something like that, an audiophile quality. So, all right, yeah, I found him based on someone else that I recently discovered who was entering the contest, and so I thought, oh, this is interesting. I went to his channel and watched some of his videos, and really, really interesting discussion. And also I learned about a lot of new labels that I could find some of these higher quality releases, but they are pricey. So it's not like something I would exclusively want to collect, but with certain releases, I would consider one of these. So let me get to it here. There's just 4 questions, and I kind of got expansive on a couple of them, and then I was, I stuck to with the question on some others. The first one is my 1 or 2 best overall sounding releases or pressings. And in this case, I do have examples that are MoFi, Mobile Fidelity pressings. And I'm just going to say Bob Dylan. Their pressings and releases from MoFi of the Bob Dylan, particularly the early material in mono, is just incredible. The other night I was listening to this one here, another side of Bob Dylan. This is MoFi, and it's the mono. And it is a 45 RPM. So this single album is on 2 discs. And I probably won't use this lighting situation in the future. Will glare on my face, creating a strong shadow here. Don't really like it. I'll have to figure out something else here. But anyway, seriously, when you are listening to these, it's like Bob Dylan is right there in the room with you. Super, super high quality sound and recording. Also, I mean, the Blonde on Blonde is in this like box because it's a two record release, but to get it on this really nice setup here, you know, we're looking at 3 45 RPM records in the box set. Comes with a really nice, got this nice foam for protecting it, and then this booklet that includes, you know, a lot of the material that came with the original release. Classic album. I have other original master recordings from Mo-Fi that also sound absolutely brilliant. The ones for Dire Straits sound really, really super good as well. And even the ones that are not labeled as original master recordings, just Mobile Fidelity recordings, sound really good. That's usually the case when the folks at Mobile Fidelity cannot positively verify that the tapes they are working with are the true original masters, but they're a close enough generation. They might be the original masters, but if not, they're very close, like the next generation or whatever. And they sound really good. I have some B-52s that are that type of recording. I will say, however, that not every original master they do, in my opinion, come out well. For example, this one, Ray Charles, The Genius Sings the Blues. I had real high hopes for this, and to me, it doesn't sound any better than an original pressing. And for the price, you know, I mean, it's all right, but ain't nothing like the Bob Dylan or the Dire Straits. So the next question is, show a most difficult find. And yeah, there have been a few, like we would call grails, that I've been seeking, and I have recently found a few of them. But one of them that was truly difficult to locate for a really long time was this one, and it's not an audiophile release, but Zappa in New York. So I put this in here. I've got 3 copies now. I have the original discrete release from the 70s, and then I have the reissue on Zappa Records. And then last year, I managed to get the true original, which has Punky's whips and a slightly extended Titties and Beer. The story behind this is, it was all put together, it was pressed, and then it was released. But the band Angel objected to the song Punky's Whips. Punky Meadows is a musician with Angel who was very famous for his pouty lips. And they're a hair band, so if you can imagine, you know, the feathered, you know, hair and all that, very glam clothing that they would wear. Punky Meadows, as I understand the story, didn't mind this, which in the Zappa rendition, it's got Terry Bozzio revealing that he had a crush on Punky Meadows. And so they made it into this really outrageous song. And as I said, they had it all pressed and copies sent out for distribution. And then the rest of the band members of Angel sued, and so the copies had to be recalled. And then that's when the next, which is considered the official release on Discreet Records, was issued in 1977, maybe. Yeah, it would have been 1977. Without Punky Meadows, and then Punky's Whips, I mean. And then they also edited some parts of Titties and Beer. This was really hard to find because some copies, several hundred they estimate, were sold. So they couldn't recall all the copies that were sent out for distribution. And then even the ones that were sent out for distribution, how are they, how are you going to verify, did they send them back? And when they were sent back, what was done with them? Were they destroyed? I mean, we all collect sometimes the radio copies, the promo copies, the white label promos, they're very highly sought after. And they were not supposed to be resold. They were supposed to be thrown away after a radio station was done with them. And so obviously they did not. So with this particular record, there's an estimated, I've seen reports of between 200 and 500 out in circulation. I'm not exactly sure. It could be more than that. It could be less than that. All I do know is that it rarely comes up for sale. And when it does, it's expensive. Right now in Discogs, the most expensive one is, the price is $400, in excess of $400. The median price is about $160, and who knows what kind of condition, because sometimes, it's really sketchy with this. I made several attempts to buy this, once on eBay, and I got outbid. And it was a seller in Germany. And I had a high bid. I was willing to pay more than $200 for this, and I still got outbid in the last few seconds. And then a dubious seller said they had one, they were kind of brand new in Discogs, and I was trying to kind of work with them, but the whole thing seemed really sketchy. In fact, that they were offering it for like $70. That kind of made it suspicious as well, and the fact that they were brand new, and that fell through. That never happened. And then this one turned up by another German seller, and it's in excellent condition. It's in near mint condition. And I paid pretty close to the median price. When you figure in the shipping from Germany, I ended up paying about the median price, maybe a little more than the median price, maybe closer to $170 for that. So that was truly one of my most difficult finds. The next one, this is one that I kind of expanded on. Question number 3 is to show one or two of my favorite or best live recordings that I have. And I got quite a few. I mean, it's hard to pick, narrow just a couple favorites, because a favorite can be a favorite for a lot of different reasons and different genres of music. They don't necessarily compare well to each other. So the first one, this is one I just got within the last week or so, shipped from England. And it's a three double album set. And it's the Fleetwood Mac shows that were in Boston in 1972. That's not on there. I'll have to open it up here to see. 1970. So this was recorded in Boston, in early February of 1970, this whole concert. And it's really a great show. As I said, there's 3 volumes, and you'll see how the covers, the way the covers are. This actually goes, this is, okay, so it goes like this. And then, so this is volume 2 and then volume 1. So it's kind of cool. It's a great show, great recording for a live recording. There are some other live recordings out there of early Fleetwood Mac, and they're good, but as is typical with some, especially if it's a soundboard recording, you don't always get everything. The output level of every instrument and voice is, always equal, and then there's always some ambient noise around with the crowd. This takes care a lot of that type of ambient noise from people standing around the soundboard, and the levels of the voices and the instruments. It's mastered really well. Another favorite of mine, and it's not an audiophile release, but it's Keith Jarrett's The Cone Concert. It took me, this is weird too, because this is not a rare record. I mean, it's supposed to be everywhere, but it really took me a long time to find one. And the couple times I did find one, they weren't all in that great shape, even though they're cheap. I mean, even this one is in really excellent condition, and it wasn't very expensive. So it's one that's out there and not too expensive, because there are a zillion copies, supposedly. And despite it being in high demand because of the number of copies that are available, the price doesn't go up. But it's an amazing concert, amazing. His piano playing is just extraordinary. And what's interesting too is that it will pick up his vocalizations, because he is Errol, I think it's Errol Garner, is another jazz pianist who does the same thing, who will make sounds while he's playing. And, this recording does pick them up. And then another favorite live recording is this one here. And this is certainly no audiophile copy. This is just a really basic copy on the Fantasy label, and with Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee at Sugar Hill, which was a bar in San Francisco. So this is the two of them playing at this club in San Francisco, and it sounds really good. Oh gosh, another one I just happened to think of was another favorite live recording of mine is Old and in the Way. The Jerry Garcia, Peter Rowan, Vassar Clements, I think, is in with that also. That's a great live recording. And it was recorded by Owsley Stanley. Brilliant. Love that album. I should have brought that out to show as well. And then one more in that category that is audiophile is I have the original master MoFi of The Grateful Dead. That's the name of it, The Grateful Dead. It was a live recording, and it was often referred to as the Skeleton and Roses, because the gatefold, the Skeleton and Roses cover, not to be confused with the live release called Skeletons from the Closet. I also have the original, which is an excellent recording as well. But those are some of, I have a lot of real favorites when it comes to well done live recordings. Now, the last one is a box set that I would love to see. And the one I'm going to suggest, there's actually two. and it's not necessarily a box. The second one's not necessarily a box set. The first one is, and that would be a box set of Caravan. All the early recordings of Caravan. And this is how I would want it. I would want it like how they did the Radio Gnome Invisible Trilogy for Gone. All right, so when they reissued this box set, not only did you get a super high quality recording, but you've got all this, the booklets and all the material and background and this booklet as well, that has everything about these 3 releases in the Gone catalog. I think they were the first 3 releases, I believe. So it is a super nice, heavy-duty box. This is what they need to do with Caravan. Now, they did release a box set of the early recordings, but it was all on CD. And I remember I don't know if it was the producer or the marketer, probably somebody in the marketing division. They contacted me because I had, way in the past, I used to keep a Zappa blog called Frank Zappa's Revenge, which, if you Google Frank Zappa's Revenge, you can still find it. And I mentioned in one of my posts about the Emojis from Emojis, Belgium. There was a music festival that Frank Zappa sort of was managing the festival. He was like the MC. And he played with some of the musicians there. He didn't have his own equipment, however, because he was there as a manager. He wasn't there to perform with the mothers. But he famously jammed with Pink Floyd. He also played with Caravan, I believe. And I don't know if he actually played with Captain Beefheart, but I think he was kind of going also primarily to help Beefheart and his magic band, manage them. But anyway, I was writing about that, and that there was this FLAC file that was out there of those recordings, which I have a digital copy of. So I was able to listen to it and then, do a blog entry about it. And somebody from representing Caravan contacted me and wanted to know if they had permission to use what I wrote about Caravan being there at that festival. And I said, sure. I'm not going to get any money out of it. And then I asked them, what is this about? Yeah, we're releasing all the early material. And I thought, cool. So it's going to be a box set on vinyl. And they replied back, no, it's going to be CD. And I was like, why? These were all originally analog recordings. They were all LPs from the early to mid 70s. CDs didn't even exist. Why would you do a box set that's only CDs? That just, I still have, when I think about it, I'm like, I don't get it. So, yeah, release that. I mean, a couple of years ago, as I said, they released the CD box set, but nothing on vinyl. And in fact, there were several compilations that were put together of the early Caravan catalog. But this one, they were releasing every album. I think they were actually going to do the entire discography of Caravan, of their official releases. And, as I said, they were all released on vinyl, but they did it only on CD. I don't get it. So that's one I would really like to see released. The other one would be not necessarily a box set. And maybe Zappa Records will do this, but they released on CD Imaginary Diseases, and this was the Petit Wazoo tour. And so they released this live performance on CD. And great recording, very high quality live recording, and great material on here. Supposedly there was something on vinyl released, but I think it's a bootleg, and I'm not sure. I mean, I never ever see it. There's a catalog entry in Discogs for it, but I never see it for sale, so I don't know if it really truly exists. But it, yeah, this is the 10-piece band, Eau de Petit Wazoo. Is this the mothers of invention? Eau de Petit Wazoo. Anyway, I would like to see this reissued as a high-quality audiophile recording. I think because this original CD recording is so so good, and it's probably a DDD. Which means the original masters are digital as opposed to analog, but it wouldn't surprise me if they actually have both. Although Frank was very much into the digital recording. I mean, there's a lot of his catalog that was released late in his life and posthumously that are CD only and not on vinyl. But anyway, yes. Let's get a high-quality audiophile release of Imaginary Diseases. Amit, are you on it? So those are my entries for Michael's contest, and I hope you enjoyed this. I hope, Michael, you enjoyed this. I am really finding your channel quite interesting. And I hope maybe a little of this exposure will help me. I mean, you got 600 subscribers in 4 months, and I hit 50 subscribers in 5 months. I'm like, I was pretty proud of that. And then, wow, just like that, my dreams were crushed. No, but seriously, it's a good channel. I'm finding out a lot of really good information about these audiophile labels and the recordings, because they are pricey, and it's not every one I would want to buy. It's not an exclusive niche that I want to collect. So leave your comments in the down under, subscribe if you are a new visitor, check out my other videos, and leave a comment. Maybe I said that already. And I'll have in the down under a link to Michael's channel with this particular contest in which he's talking about, so that you can go check it out if you haven't seen his channel either. And please remember to always enjoy your music.